Hello again. So this is the homework that I had at the end of the lesson 6, which was to translate song 81, which is Nowa Pieśń Was Śpiewajmy. I don't believe we got to the exercises during class, so I also translated and worked on those, and there's a video for that as well. This is the song. You actually be able to scroll down real quick. You could take a look at it really quick. Pause it right here if you want to look at things. Before I start kind of getting into some of the nitty gritty. I'm not going to do too much of the nitty gritty here because it was already too long of a video. Last time it was 20 minutes or something. And I said I was going to try to lower them down. So here we go. Nowa pieśń was śpiewajmy. We sing a new song. So was śpiewajmy is our verb. The subject is implied. We sing. And nowa pieśń are both in the accusative. Chwalu Bohu was dawajmy. Was dawajmy again is the verb, and if you were looking these words up, you'd find some of these meanings. So we give, and chwala is the nominative for praise. So chwalu is accusative. Now we haven't learned bohu, so we haven't learned that one yet. But bohu, as you can see here, means to God, and later on we'll discover that the u on the end of masculine means dative. Another case that I've probably talked about it before. So now mina Boga nadzieimся means we hope upon God, and this time around we have the imsia and the my, so we have that connection there. The verb is not implied, or subject is not implied, but there. Na Boga is na is on, and Boga is God. Just like in the homework before, I said vi use accusative. In this case, we're using accusative as well, and I'll explain that more in detail at some point. Now this last line of this first verse was very difficult to translate, partially because I don't know whether it's my own fault that I don't know what I'm talking about here, or that it is written grammatically incorrectly and therefore couldn't be something for me to understand. I looked up the word zelitia, which means shared or divided. More often than not, I saw the word divide, or that would also be implied separate, and I think I saw that online as well. However, if we're usually, in English at least, we separate from something, not with something. So this right here means with the world. The only other possibility that I could think of, and I hadn't considered this before, is that this doesn't mean the world, but with peace, we are shared. Or peace, with peace, in peace, we are shared. That's another possibility, I suppose. And it wouldn't be with peace, we are separated. I apologize for that sound. So, that being said, I couldn't figure out the best way to translate this. You can use sa to mean from. If you do that, you'll use it with the genitive. So smira would mean from the world. So that's why I was confused on this one a little bit. Hopefully that clarification will work out. And I think the general idea makes sense. I think also from the world makes more sense based off of the next part, where we are enemies to the world and servants for God. So Media Bocha Rabbi. Again, so Bocha is something we haven't covered yet. I'm not as concerned if you haven't looked at it. But usually with prepositions, you have a preposition, and then that preposition usually takes a certain case. So in this case, the lia will take the genitive. Okay, so lia bocha. Okay, if that makes any sense. Again, we haven't covered them, so I'm not going to get into much detail there. And the same thing for the bottom one, lia mira, vrachi. So we're for God's servants, for what that means. All right. So again, we have these guys. Hulit irugait are both third person singular, and so we have a subject that corresponds, and we have ourselves an accusative nas. Sorry. So the world abuses and scolds us, and I had the us here to show, how it's literally written. And the Lord knows our hearts. Now I put hearts because in this case the ah shows that it's plural, and we're gonna cover a lot more of this later on. I don't want to go too far, but for neuter, I'm spelling neuter wrong. For a lot of neuter nouns, you would use the genitive ending to also mean the nominative plural ending. And again, it will, but obviously, nashi implies that it's plural as well. So there are ways of seeing the difference, of differentiating the two. Duch Святой нас укрепляет, на дела Божьи поставляет. The Holy Spirit strengthens us and places us on God's deeds. Again, I didn't know the best way to express this. So places us on God's deeds is clearly the direct translation. A more fluid translation would probably be appoints us to do God's work, or places us in positions to do God's work. Mi verim Duchu Святому, and again in English, when we sing it, we usually add се. Mi все верим Духу Святому, который нас сотворил. So we believe in the Holy Spirit, which, or who created us, however you want to look at that. Духом Святым наградил, and by the Holy Spirit rewards us. I put a question mark here because there is no direct object anywhere in this situation. But again, I would imagine for the sake of poetic fluidity, which I obviously don't have right now, I would imagine that they used the us, or made the us implied in order to make it rhyme. Okay, so I think that this is what's going on here. So and there you go. And then glory to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit. Amen. All of these here we haven't learned, but again are all endings for the dative. So there we go. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys very soon.